Good evening, folks, and welcome back to TLD Flyer Tyler 658 Ultimates Art Tutorials. In tonight's episode, I will be showing you how to draw one of the Hanna-Barbera females, in this case from the show Inch High Private Eye. In this case, it's Inch High's daughter, Laurie, from the Inch High Private Eye series. I've not really watched it properly when I was younger because when it used to be on Boomerang in the UK in the early 2000s, I always miss Inch High Private Eye. And thing is, I'm hoping to catch up with it sometime later in the new year. I don't know. But anyway, without further ado, I shall be showing you how to draw her right now. We shall start with the head. I do find most Hanna-Barbera females to be super hot, but we'll not go into that much detail right now because we're going to keep it PG tonight. And to be honest, the head's a bit fuzzy anyway. I couldn't find a decent HD photo of her, so I would start. Normally, I'd start females off with hair, but she and John of the Jungle remind me of an actual celeb that looks just like them, one of the Garfunkel and Oates band members. But I'm not going to say who because I'm trying to, respect celebrities and voice actors' privacy. But she does look like a little like. Well, she and John are both look like. Anyway, the focus is. That's just my opinion anyway, not to offend, but yeah. She does look like her, but yeah. So we're trying to make sure that the head is simply matching the body, so that when we draw the hair, it won't be much of a cause. I think I'll just try and make her hair a little less see-through. There we go. That's much better. Because this is my first time drawing a Hanna-Barbera female, so it's got to be perfect, if you know what I mean. But I'm not going to spend too much time talking about this. I'll just show you how to draw around the edges. The idea is to make sure that we're not overlapping the body or her, arms and stuff. Because this is a 1970s Hanna-Barbera-esque character, so you want to make sure that we are in position of doing so. Because that's what tracing's all about, really. Making sure it's actually perfect. Even for your first go, if it's not perfect, then don't be too hard on yourself. But when you've gotten used to this by now, it's kind of best to keep it simple. So for a beginner, I'd show people how to draw cones, spheres, prisms, you name it. Draw her fingernails. But she does look like, okay, I'm not going to go too much into detail with that, but I know how these celebs are very busy. But yeah, I've had a look on Kathy Gory's IMDb page. She's not done much since 1976. So, and I knew this because I did some research on some of the Hanna-Barbera females that I've worked, like Julie McLeater when she was married to Rick Dees at the time, or Patricia Stitch, or Judy Strangis from Wheeling the Chopper Bunch, or Tina Holland from the Funky Phantom, or Joanne Harris, who was in Goober and the Ghost Chasers at the time, whose most recent work was in The Simpsons. as a couple of Simpsons characters from the early 1990s, way back to the early Simpsons. Because don't forget, we know Joanne Harris was only in the first 3 seasons of The Simpsons. But then again, I shouldn't be telling you too much about trivia. I think for now, just focus. Just thought I'd give you a bit of trivia there. Now, for the arms, you want them to be slender, so you don't want them too out of place or off center. That's what my friends use. Well, that's what some of my friends usually said, but I am very careful. But I've learned a new technique. Don't ever rush art. It doesn't work that way. You've got to be well, you've got to be simple, but you've got to be slow about it. You've got to take your time with it. This is not a workstation. You've got to, you know, if you're actually going to be doing a deadline, then that's entirely different. But when you're doing a slender drawing like this, you've got to be smooth with it. You cannot rush art. And this is different because you want to take your time, because there's no real deadline for this, if you know. But yes, you want to be respectful to the original VA that portrayed. And I do give credit to Hanna-Barbera and William Hanna for creating these great shows of the 60s and 70s and 80s. No matter which show I used to watch or shows I've not even heard of, I respect them. Even if it's just fan art I'm teaching you guys right now, it doesn't matter. It's just how I, you know, I just can't remember so many myself, but and thing is, I have a photographic memory when it comes to drawing characters. I just can't remember what shows I've watched over the years, but I do remember watching shows that I've not even heard of when I'm a teenager. It's who I am, really. But yeah, so I'm going to show you a little trick here, which I've learned to do with, you know, Freightliner. There's a little tool called the color selector tool. So when you're trying to add your color, don't always add the color you see on the palette. Just use the selector tool if you find that easier. Because if it's easier, then just do that. Because that way you know which colors you're meant to be adding. Because the more you get the hang of this, the more you won't have to worry about it becoming a disaster, is one thing. So you've got to make it your own if you're going to trace it, because even if you don't know how to do it in your own style, it's best just to draw it or trace it how in the style it was created, for that matter. It's just so for beginners, you're better off just doing how to trace overs, because then you come to the right place, really. Even if these aren't popular, at least it's about getting the hang of this stuff, really. There we go. What do you think? Just got to do the face now. But you've got to be, if it's a blurry, you know, kind of face, then you've got to be, you know, very careful with drawing that particular face, because I've had a lot of trouble over the years, over the past couple of years of lockdown, drawing the correct eyes, because I knew I hadn't got it on the right set. So that's what you've got to remember to do, is change the vector or the curve. Because in case you don't want to get it straight, you've got to make sure it's on the right path. Because if you learn from these mistakes, you'll probably get it in the next few things that I'm going to teach. But we've got a lot to learn. Even I had a lot to learn. Even though I'm self-taught with drawing, it's just who I am, really. I don't waste paper as much, but it's just to remember what the game is, really. The idea is to keep things not just simple, but just be careful with what you're doing, because you don't want to make sure that you're losing. You want to make sure that you're careful with what you're supposed to be doing, what's appropriate to this topic. Anyway, get back to these lips. Or what Arthur says from Baba, loose lips sink ships, or whatever it's called. I can't remember what entirely says from Baba, but I do know it's what Arthur definitely says from it's not the best that I've done, but it is a start. So what do you think? I think we should start colouring, don't you? Okay, let's add the arms. You want it on layer number, grow selection number 2, so that you know what fill you're matching it at. I'll just move myself up here, so down here, so you can see the color palette. But for things like hair, you want to match the color, not, you know. There we go. But for the face, you're gonna have to go back to 1. Then back to 2. Now let's match her shirt. Arms, well, and then let's see, her trousers. Let's see now, her shoes. These are like platform heels. I know most females out of Hanna-Barbera, except for Penelope Pitstop, where she wears go-go boots. The majority of Hanna-Barbera females, that does not include Daphne, they wear platform heels. I think Daphne only wears them sometimes, but I think that's how I remember it anyway. Okay, now for her eyes. Now, for this part, you're going to have to try and just draw for fillings that you can't get through. For example, you have to just use the tool through here. Now for her eyes. And now again for her eyelids. I know not many characters from the 70s would wear eyeshadow. Now for her teeth, her mouth, inside of the mouth, and lips. I'm going to go for a good pink. Now, we are going to try and fill these in, apparently. I think we're complete, don't you? Just a bit there. And we are done. We'll just get rid of her original picture. Now, I think we should give Laurie like a unisex background so that we're not making it too obvious. And then we just need to fill in, because we just missed a bit there, her hair. Is it? Yeah, that's it. There we go. And her nails. We could give them like a pink. think, you know, because I know back in the 70s, some women would have their nails polished, just like back in the 40s and 50s. Have we missed anything? Let's check at the bottom. No, I think that's it. Okay, and that is all we have time for. Thank you for joining this week's of JT Love's Art Tutorials by TLD Flyer Tyler 658 Ultimates. Follow my channel for more great, exciting content, and I shall see you real soon. Bye-bye.